Welcome to What's Up with Bowling Green Winlectric. We're your go-to podcast for lighting tips, interior design insights, and expert advice on all things home, electrical, and design. Join us as we chat with local guests, electricians, and designers as we dive into the world of DIY tips, building ideas, and indoor-outdoor home solutions to help you create the perfect ambiance indoors and out.
Hey guys, we're joined today with our newest episode of What's Up with Winlectric by Kole and Shelby Wilkinson. Excuse me, like I didn't mess that up enough in the promo.
Oh, good.
Tries with Wilkinson Property Group. You guys doing okay today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. If you could first tell everybody just a little bit about yourselves and what you guys do.
Sure. I'll let Kole start.
So, born and raised here in Glasgow, Kentucky.
Nice.
Moved to Bowling Green for a couple years while I went to college at WKU as a cheerleader. Met a lot of great people. Yeah. So, then got in the restaurant industry for a little bit. Found out I didn't want to give up all my nights and weekends for the restaurant world. And then I got into real estate. Now I give up all my hours. No, I'm just kidding. But, so fast forward a little bit. I was building a playhouse for a friend of mine who owned a brokerage, and they're like, "You ever thought about getting a real estate license?" And I said, "No, not really, but when I'm putting together a playhouse, it's going to take me about 3 days. I got a lot of time to think about it." So as I was thinking, I said, I have nothing to lose except to go get this license. So I went, I did it. Fast forward even farther, I met my lovely wife, Shelby, in Bowling Green, and she had already taken some real estate classes already, and I kind of convinced her, hey, you should pursue that, not knowing what our future would hold at that time.
Right.
And so we eventually got together, got married, started our own deal with Wilkinson Property Group, and here we are today. And then I'll let Shelby kind of tell where her story started.
Yeah, so I actually went to school for the design side of things,
Nice.
showing my age, but graduated right after COVID and decided, okay, maybe it's not time to go apply for jobs. But I did have the courses to start real estate. So I did that for about a year. Like Kole said, we got engaged, and then we've just built what we have now. We're a team of 2, but we just brought on our brother-in-law, Jason Gentner. So he is our 3rd agent on Wilkinson Property Group, and he has been a tremendous asset. Yeah, a big jump to bring somebody on with us. But he's going to be out in the field selling. He started in January. So
Awesome.
we're excited for that next step.
I'm sure that feels like a pretty big jump. So I assume that's going pretty well so far.
Yes, it's going great.
And
He's
probably
been a
nice
great
to
asset.
take a little bit of weight off your shoulders, and once it was because although you're a couple, it probably seems a little bit like a one-man crew because you constantly having to juggle everything as a family.
Yes, absolutely. So Kole runs most of our front-end business. He's kind of our boots on ground, and I am kind of what we consider our transaction coordinator. So I do a lot of the paperwork, the back end, the contracts, the organization, the closing gifts, scheduling, inspections, that sort of thing. So having
She's
another
the brains
guy.
behind.
Good for you, man. That's
Yeah.
exactly the way I
You would
would
think
want
it would be opposite. She should be out signing babies and be doing the public eye. But yeah, we kind of reversed roles, but it worked very well. And props to her because I could do the paperwork, but what takes me 3 or 4 days to do paperwork, she can do in 45 minutes.
I know, that's the way it is. It's kind of funny. My wife and I's relationship, it mirrors kind of similar to that as well. She does all the paperwork and all
The important
that stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, and she owns some rental places, and she'll shove me in front of people to talk, you know, and then she's got all the paperwork, and all I got to do is stand there and
It just works.
Yeah.
We've got our
You
little,
know where you fit.
Yep, our roles.
So, something that's come up in a previous podcast for us briefly is the fact that designers have mentioned to me that lighting is kind of the jewelry of the home. In your guys' experience, is that something that you guys notice a lot when you're showing before you list a home? Like if you're going into a home to see if you're going to take that home as a client? I don't know how you word that.
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah,
but-
absolutely.
So I'm going to give my aesthetic side of things because I'm not. But imagine yourself walking into a home for the first time, and the very first thing you see is a lamp from 1980. That's probably not going to bring you into.
Were so long ago.
Yeah, right. Well, just a couple years. But it's probably not going to bring you into modern day. What you think of when you walk in, recessed can lighting. It's bright and it's airy, and so I definitely think curb appeal sells a home.
Right.
And that's definitely something that goes into it. But as far as the aesthetic thing, that's
one of the first things that we come into a home and they're like, okay, we're listing in the next 3 months. What do we need to do? And usually what they're asking is like, what changes can I tweak? What can I do? And the first thing I tell people is we need a good mix of natural lighting, as well as, lighting in the home. So a good mix is in like having the warmth of lamps, recessed lighting, floor lamps, all those kind of things, as well as good natural lighting. So I always tell people, before your home gets shot, we need all of your shades up, your curtains open, because the space is going to feel bigger.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, like it's one of the biggest things that it's just a small tweak,
Right.
like open all this up. It's such a big space, so that's one of the first things we tell people when listing a home.
Well, I was going to say we're in an area too that we deal with a lot of older homes.
Yep.
And that's just what we're given. I'm not saying it's bad or good. That's just the hands we're dealt here. And I will say that there is a lot of homes that we walk into that don't have any recessed can lighting.
Sometimes any overhead lighting whatsoever.
None.
At all.
Right.
Yeah, there's no ceiling fans.
Yeah.
Sometimes just one, like we call it a boob light,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
for lack of
Yeah.
better words, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
one light in the middle of the room.
One little flush mount. Again, even if that, because a lot of times, especially in older houses, you may have just what's called a switched receptacle, where you would plug a lamp in and you flip the switch
Right.
and that turns the lamp on and off. But at least you have that, because there are homes that don't even have a switch
Right.
at all. So you just have to go all the way in the room and flip the lamp on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
you talk about bringing a first-time home buyer into a house, maybe listed for a lower price range, perfect for a starter home. The first thing that they notice when they get in, where's the lights? You're walking around flipping.
Yep.
Sorry, there's not any in this
Yeah.
house. You're going to have to put some lamps in. I'd really like to have these nice recessed lighting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now you're immediately in your head, you're thinking, okay, for the uneducated person, how much is that? Do I
Right.
immediately knock on my head thinking, I'm going to spend $25,000 in putting recessed lighting in here? Probably is not the case
You're
unless
right,
you're
yeah.
going all out.
Right.
So that's something that goes to their head immediately.
Right. Well, and on top of that is the fact that you don't know how easy, when you're just walking in as a realtor, unless you have a construction background or framing background or something, you got to take into account how the joists are running, how hard it's going to be to get the wire. Is it a wood ceiling or paneling ceiling or something
Plaster.
like that, which we see sometimes. That's really going to take into account. But luckily nowadays, kind of opposite of what you mentioned, most new homes do include some form, especially in the big rooms at least. Maybe not the individual bedrooms, but smaller individual bedrooms, you don't need as much light.
Right.
Yeah. And so when you get into the newer homes, you have that. Now, one of the things that we'll talk about in the lighting world is different levels of light, kind of along the lines of what you talked about with opening up some windows and things like that and getting more natural light in. But those layers of light with the can lights versus the lamps and things like that, it plays a big part.
For sure.
So we mentioned before about tiny tweaks to lighting in a home. What are some easy ways for homeowners to be able to achieve that if they, just take into pretty much any option that you would walk into a room? What are some small tweaks that you guys see on a daily basis that homeowners could do if they're looking to sell their home?
I always like to say I like options. So one of the things I love to incorporate in a home is a dimmer. Dimmers anywhere that you can, because for different, you're having an intimate dinner or you're showing your home and you're having a house party, all those environments, call for different lighting, and people like options. So you mentioned the word layering lighting. I love that, because then you have the option to have all of your table lamps on, or you could have the lights dimmed, or if you want to have daytime more natural lighting, you can have, you know, the windows open. So just really having options as far as, you know, what kind of lighting, how you want to set it up.
I think smart devices, I guess is what you'll call them, is taking over right now.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And even, I'm not going to call this a smart device by any means, but the difference between a old knob style switch versus a paddle switch, I mean, that's a huge, brings you up to modern day standards again. For, you know, when we're talking to sellers, just that changes, I'm not going to say a room, but it changes the view of it whenever you're walking through and you're looking for every single switch, and you can walk over there and just tap one, and there you go. You're ready to go.
Yeah, we actually, one of our previous podcast episodes, we focused on smart controls, and that's one of the things we talked about is the ability to control everything. Even if you have a big open floor plan, kitchen, living room, all that stuff, you can control everything from one switch if you choose to. And you know, the guest we had on, he mentioned that, you know, he has his tied into his Alexa, and so he just says, Alexa, movie time, and everything adjusts to how you want it, right?
Wow.
And there's a lot out there you can do. We offer what's called scene switches. So if you don't want to be like Alexa or whatever, and you still want a point of use, you could preset in an app. You know, if you got like a 4-button scene switch, you could preset one of them to like all on, and one of them to like, you know, dinner time, or one of them to like movie time. So you can hit that, or you could still do Alexa or Google or whatever your, you know, home automation servant is. What do they call it?
Yeah, I don't know. I would call them an iPad, but
I don't know what you call them. I sell the stuff, but I don't know what, you know.
Just meet him in the store. He's got you from there.
Pretty much. But yeah, so when you're talking about smart controls, then, since we'll talk about that for a second, do you guys see an ability in selling a home, an ability to sell a home easier with smart controls as opposed to just standard?
I would say in Glasgow you don't see it as often, because most of the time those are custom homes that somebody has done to move into. Now Bowling Green, we do see it very, very commonly, and I absolutely agree that they help sell a home quicker.
Wow. And I feel like competitively, especially in the Bowling Green market, you know, you're talking about a little bit more luxury style homes. When they're comparing apples to apples, I could get this home or this home. And they're like, oh, well, this home has all these features.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Compared to this home. So for sure in that market. And I think that we'll get there too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you guys, and this is, I guess, not really anything I thought about coming into this episode, but do you have customers that will come into a home and fall in love with a home based on a specific fixture hanging there? Like, oh my gosh, I love that. Wow, okay.
Yeah. Immediately we can think of a story that's happened within the past 48 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, you can elaborate a little bit more, because that's much more your alley, but I absolutely agree.
It kind of goes back to that, like, you know, you're comparing apples to apples. I can get this home or that. But it's so funny because sometimes people come into home, and it goes back to like first impressions are everything.
Right.
You know, they see this home and that home, but they can't unsee that light fixture that they really want. They could probably buy it and put it in this home, but they cannot get past that this home has that. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, it had under cabinet lighting, but you could install it in this home, but it has it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like when you're comparing apples to apples, that first impression is everything, because I feel like people just, they don't get
the one we
past it.
showed in Bowling Green, it was a St. Jude dream home from a couple years ago, and we walked in and I was just mesmerized by all the lighting. So of course I'm pulling out my phone going, how much was that light fixture?
We were asking ChatGPT, I'm like, where is this from and how much was it?
Gosh, it's so beautiful though. I mean, it sets the standard for the room when you walk in.
And that's a good example, you know, in that home, they spent a little bit more on their lighting. And we, like I said, we looked at probably 7 or 8 homes with that client that day. But that was a home in the same price range, but they spent a little bit more in that. Like Kole said, it was a St. Jude dream home a few years ago in Bowling Green. They spent a little bit more in the lighting, and it made her fall in love with it. And it was one of those things where, like, you can put that same fixture
Yeah.
in this home, but she just loved that home because of that.
Yeah, of course, that's one of the things that we do is talk with people a lot about how to make something work in their current space. Sometimes you have to be like, it's not really, can't really do that,
Right.
Or they'll be talking about Etsy or whatever that other app is that's the bane of my existence. But people are like, well, I saw it on there, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not code.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Pinterest. Is that the
I
one?
wasn't going to
That's
mention
the
it.
one. That's the one.
Yes.
Yeah, Kole loves Pinterest too.
Pinterest projects, but
But no, I mean, it's great for people to get ideas, though. But just sometimes everybody thinks that you see it on there, well, then I can do it. Well, you can, I guess, physically do it, but it's not
Right.
good, and it's not smart, and it's not code. So, but anyway, so is there, if you could think of one thing that a homeowner could do, lighting or electrical wise, that would give them the biggest bang for their buck if they're looking to sell, what would that be? Whether it be add can lights, or put ceiling fans in bedrooms where they only had flush mounts, or maybe do something outdoor with an outdoor living space. What would you guys think might be the number one thing?
so I would think depending on the situation. But again, we talk about what do we see most often here in Glasgow, Kentucky. I would say absolutely can lighting in homes that don't have it would be your best return on investment. But if you're talking about a new construction that, maybe, which we do have this a lot, it was built in the neighborhood of all other new constructions that were flip-flop floor plans. So you got pretty much the same house, pretty much the same lots. What can I do to stand out? Okay, well, you've got number one is paint. That's the easiest. But when you walk in, make that showpiece. You walk into a beautiful golden glass.
Like a chandelier
Chandelier,
or something just a little bit different out of the box. For sure, new construction, I think setting yourself aside, going outside of like builder grade lighting, you don't see that a ton in Glasgow unless someone's building their custom home. So I think for new construction but I feel like lighting easily dates a home. Like where, hardwood floors, you're like, oh, I don't know if that was done 20 years ago or, 10 years ago.
Right.
It's hardwood floor. And same with, unless the paint color is super elaborate, same thing, but lighting can really date a space fast. You can be like, oh, that was from this year, I can tell.
Yeah.
So I think just like updating lighting in your main areas that people spend the most time can make a huge difference.
Yeah, that's sometimes we'll have people come in and they'll literally say, I'm updating some stuff in my home because I'm looking to sell. And then they'll start talking about things. I'm like, why are you worried about your third bedroom? Like, let's shift some money more into these spaces, because these are the spaces that most people are concerned with.
Yep.
But yeah, that's definitely something that we see as well.
Lighting in kitchens and bathrooms are really important, just because I feel like that's where people spend, bedrooms too, but you can only go so elaborate in a bedroom. But I feel like specifically like your pendants over your bar, stuff like that people see that and it stands out a whole lot more. And then really good lighting in bathrooms, especially if you don't have natural lighting in that space. Having something that's gonna, is good, makeup lighting or good glamorous lighting in a bathroom is really important, especially if you don't have natural lighting.
Oh yeah.
So those are the spaces that I'd say first. If I was going to tell a client, like, I would focus on your bathroom and your kitchens can sell a space.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, what's your most favorite type of light fixture there?
Gosh.
Yeah, one that turns on when you flip the switch.
I love a good exhaust fan.
Sorry, I just had to pick a color.
That's right,
we
yeah.
have a really cool one in our bathroom that has the music. It
Oh,
connects
yeah.
to your Bluetooth.
Straight
Yep.
from China,
It's a light fixture too.
Yep. No, we sell those speaker bath
Speaker,
fans.
yeah, it's like a fan light speaker combo.
Yep,
Did
we
you know
have
that was
10
a
out of
thing?
10 would not recommend doing it before she's awake.
Oh yeah, no, or turning it on and then realize you've got it turned all the way up.
All the way up?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No, there gets something thrown at you.
No Shania Twain before 6 a.m.
Because you don't want to feel like a woman.
Not that early.
Okay. Well, guys, appreciate you guys coming on and talking with us. It's been a lot of good information, I feel like. Would you care to kind of give yourselves a shout out to the audience? Tell them, where they can reach you, whether, if you got a website or phone number. Or...
Absolutely.
So you search the Wilkinson Property Group on Facebook, Google, pretty much anywhere you're going to find Kole and Shelby, and now Jason. And we'd be happy to take any calls, questions, comments, concerns. My cell phone is 270-590-8108.
And you can find Kole's website at kolesalesky.com.
Yep. So when I try to give that email, it's Kolsky, and I'm like, no, Kole Sales KY.
Kole Sales KY.
Gotcha. And what area do you guys service? Do you kind of have a certain cutoff?
We try to stay within bordering counties.
Okay.
Now, if it's, I try to do a lot of more commercial now, so I do broaden that a little bit for commercial.
Gotcha.
But for the most part, we try to stay in Barron, Warren, Allen, maybe a little bit of Hart County.
Yeah, and just kind of our touching counties.
Gotcha,
the great thing about the brokerage that we are with, EXP, is we're in 26 different countries. So we have a network that if you say, hey, Kole, I'm moving to Montana, or I'm moving to South Africa, I have a system that I can get in contact with some really good agents in anywhere that we can connect you with.
South Africa.
Yeah.
I don't have any plans of moving to South Africa, but or even Montana. But
Montana, hey, I'm sure they have some cool light fixtures there, though.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, guys, really appreciate you joining us today. Hopefully, listeners and viewers got some good information from the Wilkinson Property Group. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
You did. You're killing
Points
it.
to me. But seriously, guys, I think that's some good information. If you have any questions or would like to maybe entertain listing with them or purchasing through them as a realtor, I'm sure they would love to get your calls or your messages on Facebook, as you mentioned, or the website. Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.